What's up, everybody? It's week 10 in NFL. I am your man, Tenacious D Jones, David Jones over at WInDailySports.com, joined by my man, Nick. Say what's up, Nick.
Good morning, folks, and everybody at WInDaily. I'm excited for week 10 today. I've looked at this slate quite a bit, made a lot of changes this morning to my main lineups, but I guess it's that kind of week, a lot of shuffling.
It's a strange week. It's hard to land on these wide receivers and tight ends so far. The running backs seem pretty clear cut, but it's NFL. Everything can change quick. So we're going to break it down for everybody. We're going to work through this slate. We're going to make my team. We're going to make Nick's team. We're going to help you make your teams. We're going to help with your seasonal start sit questions. Everyone, if you haven't heard, Matt Stafford has been ruled out for the game. It's going to be a huge boost to the Bears defense, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there in due time. Let's jump right in. Oh, also, if you have questions, just throw them in the YouTube chat. We'll answer every question. We break down a game, then we go back and we look at the questions, we answer them. So the first game that we're going to get on here, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals at home with the visiting Baltimore Ravens. Nick, why don't you take it away? Tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah, this one looks ugly on paper. Cincinnati's a 10.5-point dog at home. The total is only 44.5, and I think most of that is just an implied total of like 30 or something. Let's see here.
I'll pull it up.
28 for Baltimore last I looked. So, again, this should just be a Baltimore route. Cincinnati's starting Ryan Finley.
Yeah.
See what happens there. No A.J. Green still. I don't know if we'll ever see him this year. But, yeah, to me, I'll just get right out and say it. No interest at all on anything Cincinnati related at all. Maybe, I mean, Boyd was in my cash article early, and the more I look at it, I don't trust it with Ryan Finley. He's fine for a GPP, and I just started to think, as value opened up throughout the week on cash, you really don't need to go to Tyler Boyd at 4,700 on DraftKings. He's got a really nice player prop. I don't really understand why, but let me pull that up. I mean, what does Vegas know about Tyler Boyd and a rookie quarterback? He's got a 5-catch prop, 61 receiving yards, so that's plenty to hit value on DraftKings. I think that would put him right around 12 or 13 points. He's plus 185 to score, so yeah, I don't really like that at all. But that was the only guy I looked at on Cincinnati. And then Baltimore, I'll let you talk about Baltimore because this is a pretty easy one, but they should route them. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore's obviously going to win. Finley, I don't know much about. I mean, I tried to look into some of the stuff he's done in the past. He's in the NFL. He's a backup quarterback. He took Andy Dalton's job, but that's because Andy Dalton's so bad. I think they just have to shake it up there. I don't expect much from him, especially against this Baltimore defense. Now, Baltimore's coming off a short week. They didn't have as much time to prep, but that doesn't mean much when one team is so much far superior than the other. They are coming off a big win against the Patriots. Sometimes you get a letdown game there. But the Bengals they're too bad. They're not going to win the game. Maybe they're going to try and establish a run game because they've got Finley in there, but Joe Mixon's nothing special. Finley's going to have to throw, but he should turn it over. You would think he's going to turn it over once or twice. So the Baltimore defense is a good place to go. It's going to be the most popular defense, them and the Bears maybe now. Baltimore's my number one. As far as their offense goes, so we all know Lamar Jackson's fantastic. We all saw him, beat the Patriots. He's not going to have to push himself as hard as he did that game, obviously, because the competition's not so great. But he's still, he exceeds value every week. He should get you at least 20 points pretty easily. Just from scrambling around. Now, I see a questionable tag by his name. He had an illness. It doesn't really matter. He's going to be fine. He's going to be ready to go. The only reason I would not play Lamar, and I'm going to have him on some teams, but because I like the Baltimore defense, and you don't really want to, pair up your quarterback with your defense normally. Lamar's kind of a special talent where he can be running the ball in, too, if the defense is turning it over. But I'm a little hesitant to go there personally. I just feel like I want to fade this top price quarterback. And that bit me last week with Russell Wilson. It bit me bad. I said the same thing on the show. But I'm going to look for more value. As far as
we both did last week.
Man, yeah, that was not.
You knew it was the smash spot though. Like you and I were just getting extremely contrarian there. In case that game fades, it makes last week, if that game did not blow or shoot out, our lineups were just much, had a much easier path to success. I can't talk this morning. I gotta have more coffee.
It's still early. Yeah, still early. So Mark Ingram, like if it's not Lamar, it should be Mark Ingram. I saw some people trying to get on this Gus Edwards train or the Gus bus. I'm not going to do it. I don't play backup running backs. You don't have to do that. You can find cheaper guys around that spot. And then we've got Hollywood Brown. He can get open, but can he catch it? I don't know. He drops them sometimes, unless it's week 1 or 2. So I'm not really on him that much. You can look around Miles Boykin. No. Willie Snead, not really interested. The only pass catcher I'd play is Mark Andrews. He's got the best hands on the team from what I've just seen by watching the game so far. He's kind of faded the past couple weeks, but he's still the top guy there. He's got 3 games around 100 yards. He's a good play. And then Bengals. Not really on any of these guys. I'll tell you what. Let me ask you about this, Nick. What about Alec Erickson? He's super cheap and he's been really involved lately. Is that someone that's even on your radar at all?
Yeah. When I was doing the cash article Monday, I was not very interested, but quite interested in him just because of the recent production. He's getting like double-digit targets every week. But the thing I don't like there is that it's a new quarterback. So that whole rapport he had with Andy Dalton just dumping in the ball all the time, that's kind of gone. We saw that early in the year with Crowder. He had like 18 catches week 1. I don't know if that's true, but it felt like that. And then when Dalton got mono because he's making out with all these chicks all the time, good for him. And then Luke Falk was up next, and then you just saw Crowder disappear. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't want to invest in something new. It's a great game script to play a guy like that because they're going to be playing catch up. We would assume for the whole game, but I don't know. What's his price? He's pretty cheap. I guess you could punt him. He's like more of a Millie Maker play type of thing, that large field GPP. But I will not build a main lineup or a single entry lineup with him, just because I have no idea what to expect out of Ryan Finley. You mentioned Willie Snead. I like him as a punt play. He's taking like 80% of his snaps out of the slot, and that's, I think, Tony McRae is maybe the slot. I'd have to look at that, but I think he's one of the weaker DBs for Cincinnati. William Jackson's one of the ones I don't like to pick on. I respect him a lot, but Hollywood Brown could blow the doors off of anybody. So Hollywood's in play for me in a stack with maybe with obviously Lamar Jackson, but I do like Marquise Brown as a one-off. And then if you have to go down on DraftKings, I think Snead's salary is $4,000. He's in play, but I don't really see the ceiling there. He's just got a really good matchup with Tony McRae, assuming they play man most of the time. But that's it. I would have loved to look into Giovanni Bernard a bit more, but he really hasn't done anything this year, and he's priced, right around Ronald Jones on DraftKings. So if you're going to go that low, don't use a backup running back like David said. Just go to Ronald Jones or something like that. But yeah, I think Lamar Jackson's an excellent cash game quarterback play because his rushing floor is like 70 yards, and no other quarterback has that. So the blowout concerns shouldn't be an issue in cash, but for a GPP, I think I'm with David here. I'm probably going to fade it.
Yeah,
maybe just get a share or two of Marquise Brown. I do like him a lot, and then you kind of get your Lamar exposure that way. But if Lamar takes off for like 130 today on the ground, that could kill us. So don't take him off your board because he's obviously one of the top rushers in the NFL, and he plays quarterback. So yeah. Fade, but this game, I don't really like it that much.
Yeah, so we're breaking down like every player on these teams. It's going to be an hour and a half show, but the guys we like are Lamar, Hollywood Brown. I like Andrews a little bit. We like the Ravens defense, and Mark Ingram. I'd play Mark Ingram if it's not on a Lamar Jackson team. You obviously play him in season long. I'm going to look over here at the YouTube questions. We got a lot of stuff going on over here. Someone says, do I want to bump down the Jets tight end Griffin because Herndon's back? I think I do a little bit. I was high on Griffin before, but I'm going to bump him down a little bit with Herndon back.
I'm going to play neither of them.
Yeah, it's starting to look like that. A lot of congratulations to Javi and his sexy 6 that he took on.
Took national last night. I loved it.
Yeah, took national on the Sirius XM airwaves. Chris Brewer, Ingram or no? Yes, Ingram's good. I for DFS, he's good for season long, obviously. Will Hunt hit the ground running today? Cheaply on FanDuel. There's no way I'm playing Kareem Hunt today. On DraftKings, I guess you can do it because he's so cheap there. But I'm not interested in Kareem Hunt in his first NFL game all season being a backup.
Wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a fantastic running back, but he's not Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's the starter there. He's going to get his 20 touches, and then Kareem Hunt's gonna. The only way he pays off is if it busts a 80 yard run, or they give him a layup at the goal line. I'm not on him. If Kareem Hunt beats me, the backup Browns running back, then I lose.
I'm cool with that. Casey was asking, can Galladay be trusted with a backup? I'm going to say no. I don't want to see. I mean, I don't know. Galladay tears up the Bears, but I want nothing to do with it. I just like the Bears D there. We can talk about that game a bit more.
Yeah. Javier is going to go ahead and drop. He's in our chat. He's going to drop his sexy six in there. And this guy's crushed it, man. I'm texting with him every day. I've seen him win like $110,000 the past 3 days. It's insane. He's on such a hot run. We should listen to him. His sexy six is going to be CMC or Barkley. Montgomery bump up with Detroit quarterback in. I agree with that. Adding him in here, Ronald Jones as a Ronald Jones pivot, or Jalen Samuels. Lock Jalen Samuels in on DK. He likes Michael Thomas a lot. We all do. It's a great play. Devontae Parker, love that. Browns, Bears, or Ravens D. So there you go.
Sounds like a sexy 12, but that works.
Yes, yeah. Come on, Javi. I won't yell.
Take a stand, Javi.
I won't yell at you on the air this time, but come on, man, tighten it up. I'm just kidding.
All right. Next game is Buffalo at Cleveland. Cleveland's favored by 2.5. Another low total here of 41.5.
Yeah.
I don't like anybody on Buffalo besides Singletary. I guess you could play Josh Allen any day in a large field GPP because he's got that rushing ceiling, if you want to call it that, and the rushing floor. I want nothing to do with any pass catcher on Buffalo. It's just such a low total for me. I really don't want to mess with this game much at all. We talked about Chubb there. I mean, he's got a really good player prop. I think he's at 103 all-purpose yards, and I think he's at 125 to score. So Vegas really doesn't support the whole Kareem Hunt thing. And I'm with David there. If Hunt goes off, then I'm okay with losing that way. But I don't think a lot of the field's going to play Kareem Hunt. So if he does go off, I don't think it's going to kill us. But if that does happen, I could make peace with losing that way. I'm not investing in that at all.
Yeah. I'm with you here on Buffalo. I kind of like their defense a little bit. I think it'll be lower.
For sure. Yeah.
Cleveland's bad, but they're not they probably just slid out of my top 5. Josh Allen, I'd love Josh Allen just as a quarterback today. If I'll have him, I got to throw him on one team because I always play him. I'm not going to miss out on the big game, but he's not one of my favorite QBs. Devin Singletary's getting highly involved now, looking like he's going to be a really good running back here. He got 20 carries versus Washington, 21.5 points last week. Before that, he wasn't carrying the ball more than 10 times a game and still putting up double-digit numbers when he wasn't getting hurt. So he's a great play today, I think. Then no one else really I see on Buffalo. I'll tell you what, though, over on the Brown side, besides Nick Chubb, who's going to be under-owned today, Odell Beckham Jr. is too cheap. I mean, he's under $7,000 on FanDuel. And I know I can hear the eyes rolling in the back of your head. But he's too cheap. He's elite talent. He's going to be Baker's number one guy. If Baker can get it together and throw a couple good balls, I mean, Beckham can get in the end zone. He can, just throw it high, Baker. He'll jump up and he'll grab it with one hand. I mean, come on. Let's get Odell Beckham Jr. involved. I wrote him up as one of my favorite mid-tier guys. He's kind of sliding down to not my favorite mid-tier guy, but I'm still going to play him. He's too cheap. He's the cheapest I've ever seen him besides when he burst onto the scene, a few years ago in New York. Besides that, I'm not seeing too many other guys here I'm going to trust. So I'm good with wrapping this game up and seeing if we got any more questions here.
Yeah, I think just the only thing I really do think Nick Chubb's in play for GPPs. He's going to be like under 10% owned, and Buffalo is third last in run defense DVOA. So if you don't know what DVOA is, I would Google that. But it's basically a weighted defense rating, and it's adjusted so those like 80-yard runs against a team that really you can't recreate that. it's just like an overall ranking by Football Outsiders. They do a great job on that. It's something I really value, and Buffalo's third worst. So I think Chubb should eat today.
He really should.
And he's gonna be motivated too. He doesn't want Kareem Hunt out there. Nick Chubb loves to have the ball in his hands, and he wants to be a superstar. He is a superstar. I like him a lot today at 10% ownership or less. That's a great GPP play. I don't think I'm going to go there for cash. And then Browns defense, I think everybody's just getting them because of the price on DraftKings, so they're going to be very popular. And I think they're a fine play. I don't think Buffalo's going to kill you on offense, so they should go positive and get a couple sacks, but. Yeah, I'm not too interested in this game overall, but Nick Chubb's definitely high on my board this week.
Yeah, cool. So I'm looking at the YouTube questions. Mud Dogs asking Jalen Samuels or Damian Williams in flex. It's Samuels all day long. Scott Robinson, yo, what's up? He said hey to me. Chris Brewer, do you like the Bucks D today? No, I hate the Bucks D today. I like Arizona. I like Arizona a lot. Kyler Murray is one of my favorite quarterbacks. Phil, what's up? He's off to watch the Browns get massacred living over in Cleveland. Good for you. Let's see. Daniel, who are your top – Daniel, who is that me? David? Who's your top QB in cash? Also, sorry.
That's message retracted right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Mud Dog real quick on that.
Okay.
Damian Williams, if it's a GPP, I am very interested in him. We'll get to that game. But yeah, Jalen Samuels is for sure the safer play, so it's a cash thing. I'd definitely go Jalen, but on DraftKings, I love Damian Williams today.
Oh, yeah, that message did get retracted. I don't remember what the question was. Type it again. Murray or Winston on FanDuel from Cody Mayfield. That's really close. It's going to be a shootout game. I'm going to go Murray. I know Javi's going Winston. What do you think, Nick?
If it's a tournament, I definitely could not agree more with Javi last night on the XM show, how he said, it's just so easier to pair Jameis Winston with his receivers because the production's going to go to Godwin or Evans and maybe a little bit of OJ or a little bit of Rashad Perryman. But with AZ, I have no idea. Like, is Andy Isabella going to play a lot today? I don't know. Christian Kirk is 30% owned, maybe more today. I like him a lot, but Larry Fitz doesn't have a ceiling, so I don't know. I like Kyler Moore as my play if it was like a naked play or for cash, but Jameis for a tournament, I guess. But I'm probably going to make that decision after this show because that's probably going to be my main lineup, one of those two people. I got to figure that out.
Michael Carpenter fixed my name. Thanks, man. I don't really care that. You can call me Daniel if you want. But who's my favorite QB in cash? I think Drew Brees. Right now, we'll get to that game. It seems extraordinarily safe to me. Nick, who's your favorite cash QB?
Brees or Kyler?
Yeah, Brees or Kyler. There you go. Those are my two top guys anyways. All right, let's move on to the next game. We'll get back to the questions here in a minute. Next up, we've got Detroit at Chicago. Our Chicago native, Nick, he's up there right now. Why don't you break this one down for us?
All right, guys. Matt Stafford, I do not believe is playing. Mike Daniels, the defensive tackle for the Lions, I think is doubtful. So I don't know how Detroit's going to score points. So like we said earlier, David Montgomery, big boost up. Bears defense, probably number one on my board right now. I'm not going to have much of this game. I will. I'm going to tack on to what you said earlier, David. You play him every week with who's that? Josh Allen. I got to go back to Trubisky once more. I'll do one lineup with Trubisky and Robinson. Trubisky splits against the Lions are just disgusting, but it's cold today out here. I think it's like 40 and it's going to be pretty windy. So I don't know. This game's just in my main lineups, it'll be Montgomery and Bears defense. I want nothing to do with anything Detroit related. I loved Galladay early in the week, but without Stafford, not interested there. Maybe Hawkinson gets a bump up. If who's starting? Is it Jeff Driscoll, the old Bengal great?
I think it is Driscoll, right? I'll double check that.
Yeah. Either way, don't play the Detroit backup, but maybe Hawkinson gets a bump up because that unwritten rule of backup quarterbacks love their tight ends. I don't even know if it's true, but Hawkinson, I guess, gets a bump up. I want nothing to do with anything Detroit. Maybe their defense if you had to. I think they're 2,900 on DraftKings, but the Bears are only 31, so just find a way to go with the Bears. But I love Montgomery today.
Yeah, so it is Jeff Driscoll starting. No interest there.
Yikes.
Bears defense is going to be good. David Montgomery is going to be really popular for David Montgomery, but he's still a good play. Man, people just were shopping this guy all at the beginning of the season, rookie running back coming in, but now they're kind of starting to see, hey, he's going to be pretty good. And today he really should show out. So I can get behind that as well. Trubisky, I get it, man. Like I'm a
He
DFS.
burns us every time, but
He,
one time it's going to work. Maybe
he
not.
burns us every time. I might throw one single lineup out of 150 on him. Ty Johnson is going to be, Detroit really should try and run the ball here. Chicago has not been good against stopping the run, and with Driscoll coming in, Ty Johnson, I do not like the way it sounds coming out of my mouth, but he should get a bigger opportunity to try and do something. I'm not playing him. I'm just pointing it out. And then TJ Hawkinson, I think it makes sense that he'll get more check downs. But besides that, I'm not really on it. But you know who we should touch on is Allen Robinson. Did you bring him up?
Yeah, he's definitely in play for me. I know he'll see a lot of Darius Slay, but I don't care. Robinson had such a down game last week. I'm sure that he's going to get back on track. But this game could be so low scoring. If Detroit's not going to score, I mean, the total's 41.5. I'm sure that went down since the news of Stafford being out. I don't know. It's just, I mean, the Bears cut Mike Davis. So the only two running backs that should be in play today are Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. And I think Tariq Cohen's job's just kind of falling apart there. He's not a good running back. He's more of a gadget guy, and finally should just only be used as a gadget guy. So I think this is a great spot for David Montgomery to get 20-plus touches against a defense that's been getting shredded by everybody. I mean, Josh Jacobs tore him apart last week.
Yeah.
And who they had before was Saquon. I mean, Saquon's going to shred everybody, but
right.
If Mike Daniels is out for sure, I'm going to use a lot of Montgomery. He's definitely in play for cash. His ownership's quite high, 30% right now I'm looking at. So that's maybe a fade in GPPs, but I think he's in such a good play at that price on DraftKings of 5,300. You got to use him.
Yeah, I'm looking around at the wide receivers too. If there's one punt guy, I'm just choosing a punt guy. I'm not going to use him a lot. Taylor Gabriel's okay for a milli maker or something, but I mean he's been pretty productive actually. He had that 3 touchdown game. I watched him a lot in Atlanta. He's a quick guy. I mean you might get lucky with him, but again, I'm just throwing out a couple little punts for you. I'm going to bounce over back here to YouTube. We got anything else? Buster H is talking about Mahomes. Is everyone really looking past this one as one of the top QBs? I like the question. Don't you think if there was some concern they would have sat him? Yeah,
I agree with him so much. I'm sorry to cut you off, but when we get to that game, just wait till we get to that game because I will be very heavily interested in Patrick Mahomes today.
Yeah, I don't think this is a Tua Tagovailoa situation where he's still hobbled and goes out there and is going to lose you the game in your own backfield. I'm a huge Alabama fan, and I'm still very hurt this morning. It was a mess. But Mahomes, I'll tell you what, he's sandwiched in between Lamar Jackson and Breeze, and no one's gonna have Mahomes. Chris is liking Watkins today. Agreed, disagree. He's a boomer bust guy. He always has been. You've got Tyreek Hill there. I mean, you're just gonna have to get lucky with Watkins. There's no real predicting Watkins.
I like him a lot.
Okay, go for it.
I do. Well, we can wait to that game. We got one more of these. What's next? I think. Any more questions?
Everett or Doyle? It's going to be Everett for me. What about you, Nick?
Yep, same thing.
All right. With Stafford out, should I sit Holiday and start Gallup?
Yeah, Galladay. That always happens on autocorrect.
Oh, I was like, who? I was like going to act like I knew who Holiday was.
Damn phone operating systems don't know who Kenny Galladay is yet.
Yeah, Gallup, dude. Cooper's going to play, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still like Gallup though. Gallup's stud. And then let's see. Okay, season long. I have one set Chicago. What is this? I have one set Chicago D. Who do I roll with?
Chicago. I don't even care who the other one is.
Yeah, it's the other one's Arizona, so it's Chicago by a landslide. All right, next game. What's the next game on our page here?
The dumpster fire in New York. The Giants at the Jets. The Jets are +3. The total is sitting right around 45. So that's higher than what we've been talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so
you could talk first, and I'll kind of add in. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, he's probably my favorite play on the board regarding price and potential output. But there's a lot of guys in play in this game for sure. This could get messy.
Yeah, this is how this game goes, guys. Saquon Barkley and Golden Tate are the offense for the New York Giants. And then I'm also going to throw in one of Javier's favorite tight ends, Rhett Ellison. Makes a lot of sense with Evan Ingram gone and Sterling Shepard out. It's those three guys, and it's going to be Daniel Jones. If you just want to try and stack the game, that's who you're stacking it up with. If you want to try and run it back, you can go Crowder. I don't like chasing Crowder points, but a lot of people I respect are on Crowder this week. And I was higher on Ryan Griffin on the Jets tight end side, but now you've got Chris Herndon coming in. Griffin's still going to be the go-to guy there, but some of his usage will be taken away. Look, the honest truth is there's no real clear-cut path here. I could see it being a sloppy game. I could see it being a high-scoring game. I could see the defenses picking off a couple of these, mediocre quarterbacks and you winning it that way. It's one of those games you're going to have to roll the dice on. Sorry, I don't really have a great answer for it. It's a hard one to break down. But those are my favorite guys. What about you, Nick?
I'm going to piggyback on all of that. I'm not on the Ellison board. I guess here's my thing with Ellison. If you're going to pay down to him, he's definitely in play if the rest of your lineup is loaded with studs. I don't want anything to do with him at all unless that's my reason. But I love Golden Tate today. Love Golden Tate. Like, I think all those Evan Ingram targets are going to go to Golden Tate instead of Rhett Ellison. Maybe Ellison gets 2 or 3 catches. I want nothing to do with him. I talked to Javi about that last night. I just don't see it. But his price is so low. I get it. If you need to build a star-studded lineup, let's call it, then Ellison's for sure in play. Daniel Jones, I definitely think's in play. Robbie Anderson's in play on the Jets side. That you like. I think Jason is covering the WInDaily here on the YouTube channel. Is that his name there? WInDaily Sports. That's Jason, I'm assuming.
Probably.
I definitely think this game will go over too, but I'm gonna have the most exposure to Saquon Barkley. Maybe a little bit of my boy Darius Slayton. I think these Jets cornerbacks are brutal. I'm not sure who's all hurt. I think Tremaine Johnson may miss this game. He's one of the better ones. So I don't know. It's just I love Golden Tate today. Let me say that. On PPR sites like DraftKings, I think FanDuel, I'm not sure what his price is over there, but I think maybe a bump down on FanDuel just because it's not full point. But Golden Tate still should be very active today.
Yeah, I still love Golden Tate over there. He's only 6,300 on FanDuel. I wrote him up as one of my favorite mid-tier wide receivers. So
no one's playing him either. Like his ownership is so low. You figure, yeah, he's like 5% right now. I'm seeing. I just don't get that. Everybody, like people are gonna be more interested in Rhett Ellison than Golden Tate. I don't understand. I mean, obviously price is a factor there, but no.
Yeah.
Golden Tate and Saquon for me for sure in this game.
Yep. All right. I'm going back to YouTube. James Rocker. What's up, James? Asking our resident Miami Dolphins fan, Javier, who his favorite Miami wide receiver is. Javier's going to kill me. He's a Cowboys fan. Devontae Parker. Yeah, that's easy. We love Devontae Parker this week. I see a lot of Javier saying he sees a lot of Albert Wilson, Allen Hurns, Jakeem Grant, but it seems like it should be Parker. I agree. Rustling Paving. I'll give you this one to you, Nick. Do you like Jonnu Smith or Rhett Ellison?
Jonnu for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's saying Jonnu. We really didn't even have to answer that. Okay, from Scott Robinson, season long. Guys, get off Arizona defense. Detroit defense, the Chargers defense.
Chargers already played, so you can't use them.
Yeah, it's going to be Detroit and out of those threes. Y'all, Arizona defense is going to get shredded today. They're terrible. They're like the worst defense in the league aside from the Falcons. Never play them. And then Nick, how do you determine ownership?
There's a couple different sites on there. You could obviously Google it. I'm not sure exactly which one is the best. I could talk about that in Slack. I'm not going to give another website a shout out or anything like that. But I know that's something that we're working on providing you guys too, with some ownership projections, because that's obviously a big game changer for making a GPP lineup.
Yeah, it's a big game changer for making like a Millie Maker lineup, but don't worry about it too much if it's 100-man contest or something. You're going to be
just
so
use
mad.
the right plays.
Yeah, you're going to be so mad at yourself if you pivoted off a stud play just because he's going to be 10% higher owned than this other scrub. So don't do that. Don't worry about ownership projection unless you're trying to win $1 million, and that doesn't even work. So I haven't figured it out yet. All right, Kansas City at Tennessee. What's your any notable injuries on this one? Favorite play?
Yes. Okay. For Tennessee, Terrell Casey is out, and I've been talking about him on every live stream so far. He is a great run stopper for Tennessee, and the last 2 weeks they've kind of been torched by running backs. Obviously, they had Christian McCaffrey last week, so that's not a great example. He torches everybody. Jayon Butler here. Yeah, Butler, I think. Yeah. He's out as well. He's an inside linebacker who helps stop the run. So, again, this points back to the Damian Williams question. I think this is a great spot for him. He was at like 70% of the snaps last week. No one's talking about Damian Williams. So, I'll just get right into it. My whole thing on GPPs this week, I'm going to either have an Arizona Tampa Bay game stack with a little bit of Kansas City, and my little bit of Kansas City is either going to be Kelsey or Damian Williams. And then my PPP lineups are going to be a Kansas City stack with Mahomes. I love Mahomes this week, and Tyreek Hill or whatever. You know how to make a Kansas City stack. But I think that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm going to be very heavy Arizona, Tampa Bay, and then I'll have a little bit of Kansas City exposure because I think this is still the best offense in football. And no one's talking about Damian Williams, and I think he's in such a great spot. It's the offense, the opportunities that he's going to get if they're getting on the goal line. That should be Damian Williams when they're moving the ball. In the past, Damian Williams is involved in that, and early down work should be Damian Williams. So I like him a great deal today. It's a high total too. I think over-under's like 50. So that's great. And Okafor's out for the Chiefs. Malcolm Butler's out. Jayon Brown is the inside linebacker. So, yeah, when whoever was asking about Sammy Watkins earlier, you've listened to me the last 2 weeks. This is like on my little personal board of matchups to always pick on. It's this Tennessee secondary. Remember 2 weeks ago, we called Mike Evans having a huge day, and he destroyed this Tennessee secondary, and that was Adoree Jackson. And I think Adoree got hurt that day, and then LaShawn Sims had to play. Well, Malcolm Butler's out for the year now, so LaShawn Sims has to play all the time. So I love Tyreek Hill. And again, that whole little exposure thing to KC, if you can't make a KC stack, then Sammy Watkins is definitely in play too. Both of these corners are terrible, in my opinion. Adoree's fast. He's terrible in coverage. So I don't care. And Tyreek Hill's faster than anybody, so I don't care how fast Adoree Jackson is at all. I love the KC pass catchers this week, I guess. Long story long.
Yeah, cool. On the Tennessee side, we like Jonnu Smith a lot. Derrick Henry, man, I don't want to chase Derrick Henry points, but he's in a great spot again, so you can do it. It's at home. I would have to think that you want to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, even if you do think he's a little beat up, which I don't. He's not going to be as mobile. I mean, but he's going to be fine. He's out there. Derrick Henry's going to get it a lot. You just need him to break a long one. I think he'll be more popular than he was last week because of what he did last week, but I do still think he's a good play. And then there's a lot of love on the Tennessee wide receiver side. People still think that this Kansas City defensive backfield is as bad as they were last year. They're really not that bad. You beat Kansas City by running on them. We got to quit thinking like it's 2018. They're okay. AJ Brown is a guy a lot of people are getting on. He's super boomer bust. He had that one big game, and now everyone wants to chase it. I get the play. He's the wide receiver. Is he the wide receiver one there? You've got
Corey Davis is out.
Yeah, Corey Davis is out. You've got Tajay Sharp there. Adam Humphries there. I don't love them. I don't. They're all priced too close, and you're going to have to get it perfect. Like if you think one of these Tennessee guys are going to go off and you build a perfect lineup and you're trying to pick the right one, just make 3 of the same lineup and change up the Tennessee wide receiver in there and know you covered all your bases. But personally, I'm not on it. I'd rather have Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown's for sure in playing cash at that ownership. He's going to be so highly owned on DraftKings. He's only 4,300, and you'd assume he's going to get. I mean, Kansas City's going to score. So I get the whole Derrick Henry using him as much as you can because you want Mahomes off the field, but I don't think it's going to matter. Kansas City's going to score on this defense. So A.J. Brown's in a perfect spot to get like 10 targets and I think he's definitely in play for cash. I don't really like him as much on the GPP side because everybody's going to play him. And again, I don't know. AJ Brown's good, but
he's 30%. He's
yeah.
going to be 30% owned.
Yeah, it's a perfect fade spot in the GPP, but in cash, I think he's fine. He's going to have guaranteed volume there, but I prefer Jonnu. But my GPP play here in my Kansas City stacks, and then when I'm trying to get like McCaffrey or Barkley in there, I obviously have to save salary. I'm going to use a lot of Adam Humphries today.
Okay.
It's disgusting, but on DraftKings, he's only 3,500. He's going to get Kendall Fuller a lot in the slot. I like that matchup. And without Corey Davis there, I mean, Humphries catches everything. So all I really need from him is maybe, I need KC to score a lot so that Tennessee has to pass a lot, which they should. Both boxes there should be checked. So I just want Humphries to get like 6 for 60, and that's fine. If he gets in the end zone, then I should make a ton of money today. But I'm not going to rely on him scoring a touchdown. I just need 12 to 15 points out of Humphries, and I definitely think this is a spot for him to do it. No one's talking about Adam Humphries. You shouldn't, but if I always love these punt wide receiver threes, and he's going to be one of them today. Probably my heaviest one.
Okay, cool. Look, so I'm going over to. I was looking at Humphries a little bit too. I definitely don't hate the play. As you got to pick someone cheap if you're paying up for those high-priced running backs. At the end of the show, we're going to go back and tell you about all the plays we've already talked about if you're just tuning in. Like just our favorite plays, not breaking down the whole game again because we got a lot. I got a lot on the sheet right here. I'm writing down.
Bobby says he's going to throw up, or he did throw up. Adam Humphries, yeah. That would make me throw up too, but.
Look, so. All right, look.
It's going to be the play for me.
Questions.
I have to.
Oh, I just turned my Alexa on, and it's answering some kind of dictionary question.
Tell her what's up.
What is good, proper, or just?
All right, so
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Is anyone Is anyone shadowing Tate? Is a question we have. I don't think so. Have you heard of Tate getting shadowed?
Golden Tate? No.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting shadowed.
The Jets don't shadow, and most shadow corners never go to the slot because these corners are so good. Like our top corners in football are very good because they know how to use the sideline as a second defender, if that makes sense. A defense doesn't always have 11 defenders. It has 13. It has 2 sidelines. So the really good corners out there, especially Chris Harris, that guy is a genius when using the sideline. Jalen Ramsey's really good at it too. It's kind of like a basketball thing, with trapping the ball and stuff like that. I don't know if you guys play basketball, but using the sideline as your friend, these shadow corners do that. So they're really not going to go to the slot ever and get exposed because there's just so many different outs that could happen that way. So,
very good point. That's why we got you here, Nick. That's some insight for you. Clayton Duffy, Hunt for the win. Yeah, you and 15% other people. But I'm not on him, man. I'm not on him. Sorry. If he beats me, he beats me. Justin Simmons, do you like Greg Olsen as a pivot to Jonnu Smith? I know Jay, our founder, likes him a lot this week. And you can beat Green Bay with the tight end. My problem with that game is that it's going to be freezing or below freezing. And this is a team coming from Carolina. I know I shouldn't let that factor in too much, and it doesn't, but that something feels weird about it to me. I'm not on him. Jay is on him. So I don't think he would pivot you off Jonnu Smith for Greg Olsen, though.
Yeah, I just look at the game script there, and like I said, I have no doubt that KC's going to score a lot of points. So, without Corey Davis, Tennessee's going to have to pass it a lot. And so, again, this is the whole Humphries thing. I like him because Corey Davis is out. Target's got to go somewhere. So that should give Jonnu Smith a big bump too. And I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna use Jonnu in cash now. You guys talked me into it.
Cool. Buster asks, this sounds like something you might know. I think you might have answered it. Did the Chiefs get their guard back, but still missing
Fisher?
Yeah,
I think Fisher's out.
Okay.
I'll look at that right now.
Okay, we're gonna look into that. See you, Mud Dog. See you got a roll.
Fisher is out. Yep.
KC, Derrick Henry is a train. That guy's huge. I proposed the question last week. Who would you rather try and tackle, Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley? I'd rather try and tackle Saquon Barkley. He might just jump over me. Derrick Henry's going to run through me, and I don't want any of that. Kittle, Scott Robinson, Kittle, I'm sure, over Jonnu Smith in season long. I think Kittle's out, right?
Shanahan said that he can't ever rule Kittle out because that guy's a psycho. He just loves to play football, and he's tough as nails. But
I think Kittle's out, dude. I don't think he's gonna play.
I think if you're confident that Kittle's not going to play, Johnny's definitely the guy here if he's available in season long. If not, get that. Who's the backup for San Fran? He was in your write up for the showdown slate against Arizona.
The backup tight end. I'll pull it up.
Winnie or something. I don't know. I have no idea who it is, but maybe just handcuff that spot.
Yeah.
I prefer Johnny though. Short
Dwelly?
answer. I prefer Johnny. Dwelly. That's it.
Yeah. Dwelly. He if Kittle's out, Dwelly's a good play. Let's see. Yeah, Javier threw up. Yep. Jonnu. I have Jonnu and AJ Brown. No Humphreys. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. Juju is playing. That's
Kelsey,
good.
love him. Love Kelsey. Dorican Warhammer. Is that like a Game of Thrones reference or something?
I don't think it's Game of Thrones. I watched a lot of that, and I don't.
Okay.
Remember.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not. Yeah, Kelsey's for sure. He's my number one tight end on the board. On my projections, he's the only guy that I have locked in for 3x value. I can't say that about any other tight end, so I love Kelsey a ton.
Word. All right, what's the next game we have here on the slate? I think we got a handful more.
We got the fun one, Arizona at Tampa Bay. Highest total on the board, I think it's 52 and growing. Tampa Bay's favored by 4.5. This should just be an absolute shootout. My favorite game on the slate for sure, and I think everybody in DFS is. But
look,
Seattle, Tampa Bay again.
Yeah, it is. Kyler Murray, going up against Tampa Bay. Here are my notes from the SiriusXM show last night. Tampa Bay's given up 19 touchdowns, just like the Falcons. They have a great rush defense, so that means that I don't think they're going to be able to run on Tampa. So they're going to have to throw it. Good thing is Kyler Murray's got tight end I trust, receivers I trust, and his 2 running backs are pass catchers. He's going to throw it a lot here in a high total game. He looked great against the 49ers last week, put up 23 fantasy points. I thought he was going to put up 13. I was fading him that game. He looked good to me. He's starting to kind of round out. I think you can play him naked, or you can try and get, lucky with a Kirk. David Johnson says he's going to play. We've heard him say that before, and it didn't happen. I think he does play this game, but Kenyon Drake should probably get about 50% of the snaps because he looked like an absolute stud. Kyler Murray is one of my favorite 2 quarterbacks, ranking Breeze, Murray, then Jameis Winston. What do you think about this Tampa side? I got a good feel on it too, but I want you to tell the people what you're thinking.
All right. So Ronald Jones is going to be the RB1 today, according to Bruce Arians. I don't like to put a lot of value in coach speak, if you will, but his price on DraftKings at 4,300 is too good to avoid. He's a perfect salary saver, and I preach this every week. You're getting exposure to the highest total game on the board. Get as many pieces to this game as you can. And Ronald Jones, checks all of those boxes. He's cheap. He's going to get goal line work in this game. And Tampa Bay should score a ton. I think they got an implied total of 28 as well, same as Baltimore. I really like everybody for Tampa Bay. Godwin, Evans. I think this is more of a Godwin game to me.
Yes.
Peterson will shadow Evans as much as possible, but they do put Evans in the slot sometimes. Peterson won't go there.
Right.
OJ Howard, a lot of people are talking about him. I think a good punt play here is Brashad Perriman. He's minimum price on DraftKings. He's 3,000 flat. I don't like it, but again, if this is your spot to get cheap exposure to the highest total on the board, the snaps are there for Perriman. He had a lot of targets last week. I don't like to put a lot of stock in just one game of he got volume, and that's really the only game all year he has, but he could run a deep route, catch a 50-yard touchdown. So I guess what I'm doing with Perriman is in my KC stacks, I obviously need cheap exposure to Arizona, Tampa Bay. And then on my Arizona, Tampa Bay stacks, I need cheap exposure to KC. So when I'm doing a lineup with Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek, I think Perriman's that guy for me. And then, maybe Christian Kirk on Arizona because they're so cheap. But I can't afford Godwin or Evans with my KC stack. So Perriman's going to be in play for me.
Yo, look, Godwin's the play this week. He's going off this week. I love Chris Godwin. He might be the highest priced or the highest scoring wide receiver. Peterson on Evans. That's what he said. I am going to highly disagree with Brashad Perriman. I have watched him lose games for Tampa this year. He has played in every game so far, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this year. Last week, he had 4 receptions, and that is more receptions than he has in the previous 5 games combined. He has 3 games with 0 catches and 9 targets. He's terrible. He's bad. I highly disagree with it. Sorry, Nick. I hope it wins you a lot.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's my punt. I
Yeah.
like to describe why I'm using him. I don't like him by any means. I think they should have cut him and got that comp pick 2
Yeah,
days
I'm
ago, or
busting your
whenever that
chops.
deadline was. No, you're good, but it's a whole thing of I just think this game's going to shoot out. So when I'm using KC, I just want a couple paths to success for my lineup. So I want KC to go off, and then I'll have a little bit of Tennessee exposure on the other side, and then I want some exposure to Tampa Bay, Arizona. So it's really, if those 2 games shoot out, my lineup should be good, and I'm okay with taking a risk on Brashad Perriman. It's either him or Howard for me, but my KC stack are going to have Kelsey, so I can't really use Howard. I'm not going double tight end. So it's the Adam Humphries thing. I prefer Humphries here, but
yeah. So
Perriman's on my board just because of the price and just because of the game.
The look of disgust on Jameis Winston's face when Brashard Perryman ran the wrong route, and I think it was against Tennessee.
He does that every route, I feel like. He's never on the same page with anybody.
Perriman needs to just keep running and run out of the stadium and go back home. But all right, let's check out see if we got any more questions here on this one. And Jameis Winston's obviously good, guys. How about Clay as a punt tight end?
No.
He is a punt, and I don't like it. So
he splits time with Max Williams too. So
yeah.
if Clay ran away with that job and he was running the most routes at the tight end position, I think Max Williams runs more routes and Clay's used to block. I could be wrong there, but I was looking at that yesterday. That's kind of the assumption that I made. I don't want it at all.
Scott Robinson asks, is Marvin Jones Jr. okay for season long? I try and hit the wire just because the quarterback situation. See if Devontae Parker's hanging out there. He's a great play. I'd play Allen Robinson if he's hanging out. But I'm not playing Marvin Jones today. I'd rather punt it somewhere else. He also asks, guys, what's your thoughts on this DK lineup? Okay. Mahomes, Singletary, D. Williams, Godwin, Tyreek Hill, Kirk, Jonnu Smith, Bears D. It's a good Kansas City stack.
Who's the flex there?
Jonnu. Yeah,
he's tight end. It's got to be someone expensive.
He's missing a guy on here.
I like that a lot, though, Scott. Let me know who your flex is. I think that's a contrarian stack. No one's really playing KC. You got Jonnu on the other side.
Yo, that was not a Little Giants movie reference, but I get it now. That's pretty funny. Good catch, KC. All right, we've got not a lot of time left. Let's move on to the next game. Atlanta at New Orleans. Let me take this one. These are my boys. I know a lot about them. And then, of course, you're going to take the second half of this. Drew Brees at home versus the rival. Both teams are coming off a bye week. He's got the best wide receiver on the slate with Michael Thomas. Thomas has not scored less than 13 FanDuel points all season. Maybe one game it was under 13, but I went back, and every week he just produces. This is without Brees. He's going to be able to feast on the Falcons. I know they've been planning for 2 weeks on how to stop him. They're bad, though. They're not going to be able to do it. Falcons have allowed 19 touchdowns to their wide receiver this year. Brees has 370 yards in each of the 2 healthy games he's got this week. He is 100% healthy. He's going to tear these guys up. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, best stack of the day. If you're trying to get cute, I think Ted Ginn is the kind of receiver that can beat the Atlanta Falcons. I think it's going to be pretty steady. You can get there. Alvin Kamara is going to be splitting time without Murray, but he was splitting time with Ingram last year. It doesn't really matter that much. I'm not going to be on him. He's a little too high priced for me, but of course you play him in season long. And then on the Falcon side, no one's talking about Matt Ryan. He was getting over 300 yards every game, like the first 5 or 6 games. He got hurt. I think he's healthy now. They're going to put him in there. He's not a bad punt quarterback, really. He's too cheap for what he can do with Ridley, Julio, Hooper, Freeman, who catches the ball a lot more now. I don't hate Matt Ryan. And Ridley is priced too cheap on these sites. He's a great play. He should be like 6,500. He's like down to 5,000 something. So those are my guys on that game. Could be high scoring. I don't think it's a Saints blowout. I like the Falcons' offense. They have a good offense, but their defense is miserable. What do you think, Nick? Any other thoughts on that?
No, I got a question for you on the Atlanta side. So I'm trying to build my cash lineup here on the show, and it looks like I'm going to need a DraftKings receiver that's around 3,500. Humphreys or Russell Gage?
Yeah, I'm not interested in Gage, man.
Neither am I. People are talking about him, but he did all that work last week with Matt Schaub, or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was.
Yeah, you don't need Russell Gage. I highly recommend against it. If you just want to get crazy, someone asked me about him this morning. If you don't care about money, throw him in a lineup. But I
don't think it's that bad of a play. I don't like it at all. I think it's going to be Hooper, Ridley, Freeman, and Julio Jones, obviously, that are going to get their feast first, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with words here. Yeah, but Gage is like another guy that's just cheap exposure to these very high total games. So I think Gage is in play, but I needed your sign off there. You're the Atlanta guy, so if you don't like him, I don't like him.
I don't like him. When Matt Ryan has been throwing him the ball, he has 4 receptions on the year and 1 fumble.
Okay, that's
bad.
Fair.
He hasn't scored over 2 points with Matt Ryan.
All right, I'll just use Hooper then in the middle of the field there. Or maybe they can call Mohamed Sanu and bring him back just for this game to help me out.
Well, that is, you know what? That's a good point. That Sanu's gone now, so someone's going to have to step up. That's actually a decent. That's a pretty good point, which I wasn't considering. So maybe he catches 2 balls this week.
Crazy Vegas stat of the day here, though, is Alvin Kamara is minus 300 to score. The next closest on the prop sheet here is Christian McCaffrey at minus 225. So I really didn't like Kamara all that much. I don't know, like, why would they not use Lat Murray with how good he's been? And Kamara's coming off an injury, so it makes sense that they're going to split time. But these props for Alvin Kamara are through the roof right now. He's projected for 110 all-purpose yards and minus 300 to score. And not many people are playing him. He was not on my board. And again, I don't like to use Vegas that much, but they obviously know what they're doing. And I'm trying to figure out what his catch prop is here. And he's got a 5 catch prop. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
He's going to make one of my main GPP lineups. Not the main one, maybe number 3. But all right. I did not expect that. What are your thoughts on Alvin Kamara if no one's really playing him? He's coming in at like 10 to 12% ownership.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I can't play everyone. I'm not playing him.
For sure. No, okay. That makes sense. He's going to make my board, I guess, just with the Vegas love there, but he is not one of my main plays. But that was I just wanted to throw that out there. That's pretty eye-opening to see minus 300 to score.
That's pretty huge. More questions. Let's see. Who do you like at the flex, Tate or OBJ? Probably Tate. What do you think, Nick?
Yep, Tate for sure. On DraftKings, Tate. Yeah, he said on DK. So yeah, Scott, I'm going Tate there. I prefer a running back in the flex all the time, but I think Tate's a lock for 15 plus today on DraftKings.
Yes, sir. All right, we got 3 more games. We're going to knock them out quick because I have lineups to build. Miami at Indy. Yeah, Miami at Indy. Take it away, Nick.
All right, we have Indy minus 10. Brian Hoyer is starting. Jacoby Brissett's out. If he's in your season-long lineup or any DFS lineup, get him out. T.Y. Hilton's obviously still out, and Preston Williams for Miami is out on IR. No Xavier Howard as well for Miami. I think this is the least experienced secondary in the NFL with Miami right now. So it'd be fun if Brissett was playing. I don't want really anything to do with these Indy pass catchers. I know everybody loves Pascal this week. I'm out there. That's the whole David saying you can't play everybody. He's probably a fine play, but I don't know. I don't see how this is just anything but Marlon Mack on the Indy side. And then Miami, Parker should get a bump up with Preston out. And then my boy Mike Gesicki should definitely get a bump up. And he's pretty popular in DFS this week. A lot of people like him, but for good reason. So I watched a lot of Indy game tape yesterday trying to figure out, does this give Parker is he a can't miss play? or really who benefits here. So when Indy's scoring a lot and when they have a lead, they play a lot of cover 2 and they leave the first read in the middle of the field wide open all the time because they just don't seem to care about it. So this is why I like Mike Gesicki a lot. So we talked about Ellison earlier at the punt tight end category, let's call it. I like Gesicki a lot because of that scheme that Indy runs. The middle of the field should be wide open, and if Fitzpatrick doesn't just tunnel vision to Parker, which he very well may do, that's kind of the reason I don't love Gesicki. I just like Gesicki because I don't really know how to read Fitzpatrick. But Gesicki had a career game last week. They've always called him Baby Gronk since he was at Penn State, and he's just in a terrible system in Miami, but he's starting to get out there, and he was playing wide out last week too. When Preston went out, I think Gesicki's big play, the one on the right side of the field, he was playing wide out. So they're cool with moving him all over. They obviously like him a lot. So I just think Mike Gesicki is the best punt tight end play on the board this week. I like him more than Jonnu. I like him way more than Rhett Ellison, but their pricing is, $600 different. So if you have to use Ellison, I get it, but this cover 2 defense for Indy is going to allow a ton of open space to the middle of the field, and I think that's going to be where Gesicki eats. If there's any punt tight end that can get 5 catches or more, Gesicki's the guy.
Yeah, I like everything you said there. Gesicki, good play. I liked him at the beginning of the season. He didn't really do anything yet. I have him in too many best balls. Parker, 4 touchdowns the last 5 games. He's going to be the number 1. Fitz is going to just hammer it to him. Fitz, would you play Ryan Fitzpatrick on a team?
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't see why not. It's the same thing as last week. They're going to be losing and they can't run the ball. I want nothing to do with this Kalen Balazs guy that he was early chalk this week. I think people are getting off him now. Good. He's 3,800 on DraftKings, so I get it if you want to use him, but there's never been a good Miami run game all year long. So why would it start now with the third stringer, I guess, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, y'all should go play Kalen Balazs because I need the money. So if you want to get on that chalk running back, Kalen Balazs, I think you should do it. I'm kidding. Don't play him. He's terrible. Miami.
Darius Leonard's in for Indy. Like, he's a great run stopper. Pierre Desir is questionable. I think he's supposed to be out. So that's probably the guy that would see the most of Devontae Parker. So I do like Parker a lot. The red zone target should be there, but the red zone targets that went to Preston Williams obviously have to go somewhere else. So I think this is a great spot for Gesicki and Devontae Parker, and another punt play. If you have to do it, Alan Hearns has been priced on DraftKings. I could sign off on that. I don't love it, but I think he's better than Rashad Perriman, right?
Yeah. I would.
So maybe I get off Perriman completely, and I'll just go Alan Hearns for $3K on DraftKings because I'm going to need that punt spot in my main lineup.
Yep. All right. So I'll touch on Marlon Mack. I love him. They're going to run the hell out of the ball here. He's a good running back. You can play Marlon Mack, no problem with that. Just hope Jordan Wilkins doesn't sneak in there and steal a touchdown from him. That would make me throw up all over the floor, even more than I did last night when Alabama lost. Zach Pascal is a guy. I played him last week. I don't like him as much this week. Miami's defense is terrible. Yep. Quarterback's capable, and he should be targeting Pascal the most with Paris Campbell out, T.Y. Hilton out. I can see it. And then also Jay was talking up Jack Doyle on the show last night. I was on him last week, but that had a lot to do with
he paid off for us last week. That touchdown, I went nuts.
Yeah, I was on him a lot against Pittsburgh with the quarterback. I can see it again here. Not as high on him, but I can see it. He's not a bad play. And then the defenses, I think both teams are going to try and establish the run here. And it could be a quick game.
Miami's going to try to do that?
Well, they're down the wide receiver, but maybe not. I think Colts are going to do that. So Colts are going to establish the run here, which could make the game go a little bit slower, perhaps. I don't know. I had mentioned the Dolphins as a punt defense earlier. They're so cheap. I might throw it on a couple milli makers. It's real risky though, guys. I just wanted to all defenses start with 10 points. All you need is a turnover or two, and they're going up against, the third string quarterback in Indy. You might get lucky. If you're trying to win $1 million, do not do it on anything besides a milli maker. And if you care about losing that money. So look, I got a question here. They want me to share my core players. All right, I'll go ahead and do it. And then we'll touch more on it at the end. I like Drew Brees. I like Kyler Murray. I like Winston. I like Thomas. I like Godwin. I like Tate. I like Parker. All right. I like CMC. I like Aaron Jones. I like Saquon. I like Jalen Samuels. I like Singletary. And I like Mac. There are my notes. Is that good? Did I do good?
I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Look. So let's move on to the next game. I'm starting to need another coffee, and I want to get to my lineups. So next game is going to be the Carolina Green Bay game. One of my favorite running backs is Aaron Jones against Carolina. Carolina's terrible. Derrick Henry went off on him last week. Tevin Coleman went off on him the week before. It's going to be
everybody goes off on him.
Everyone goes off on him. It's going to be freezing in Green Bay. They're going to be running the ball a lot. Aaron Jones will probably be on my main lineup. Not real interested in Rodgers or any of the wide receivers just because I'm hoping that run game comes together. And then CMC is obviously a great play. He's super high priced. It's going to be cold. They're probably playing from behind. I think you still got to get him in at least half your lineups. Nick, what do you got?
Jones. Yeah, I mean, Carolina is dead last in run defense DVOA. So we talked earlier about DVOA. That's something you should value a lot. Carolina gets crushed by every running back. My only concern was I know you and I were heavily invested in the Chargers-Packers game last week, and it seemed like Aaron Jones just kind of quit. I didn't see him really try hard at all, anything, from the second quarter and on. It just seemed like he didn't really want to be on the field. I don't think that's going to matter. I don't think he's in the coach's doghouse or anything for that because no one from the Packers showed up last week. So it's just the whole Jamal Williams thing. Does he get the goal line work? But I don't know. I love Aaron Jones, especially at his low ownership. You were on him all week, and reading your stuff kind of got me on him as well. He's got a minus 175 touchdown prop, which is really good. So I think he's going to be in my main lineup for sure. He's a good pivot off of Marlon Mack. I love Marlon Mack too, but that similar price range, I think I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. He gets the catches too. Mack really doesn't get any work in the passing game, and on DraftKings, you kind of need that extra value there.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, love it. Scott Robinson asks, we need a defense today. All right, Cleveland, Green Bay, Kansas City, Dallas, Tampa, no, Jets, Minnesota, or Seattle. So everyone, choose from everyone.
Cleveland, I guess.
Yeah, let's see. Kansas City, no. Green Bay, no. I don't think.
I think you could use Kansas City. I definitely do.
Okay, that's a tough one.
Choose Cleveland or Kansas City for me.
Yeah, I get behind that. Yeah, just look at your roster, who else you're starting, and make sure you're not starting a guy versus your defense. Maybe that'll help you narrow it down between Cleveland or Kansas City. Nicholas is saying Rodgers is going to make a statement today. I could see Rodgers going off in a cold Lambeau game. I mean, that's where he kind of thrives actually, and he can get it done. But I'm too much on Aaron Jones. Thoughts on Albert Wilson from Jay? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, it fits that open field thing that I was talking about with that cover too. I don't know. I don't like Albert Wilson though.
Yeah,
so to me, it's just Gesicki, Parker. I'm going to punt with Hearns, but I think this scheme that Indy runs should feed Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I feel you. He you know the drill, Jay. He's a punt. He's one of our guys that we like to punt on, a real Robbie Anderson type. The next game, the last game, and then I get to go work more, is the Rams at Pittsburgh. Notable injuries: Cooks, Juju, he's going to play though. Snell's out. Connor's out. I love Jalen Samuels, especially on DraftKings because you get the 1 point PPR. He's too cheap still. You can go play him, not a doubt about it. And then my favorite tight end is on the other side, and Gerald Everett. He's going to be the wide receiver 3 there. Minkah Fitzpatrick's going to do his best to get another interception like he does every game. Jared Goff's not throwing it towards Minkah Fitzpatrick. Whoever Fitzpatrick is on, it isn't getting targeted. And he's not.
I think it's going to be Gerald Everett.
Do you really?
Yeah, because the way Pitt plays, I was watching that too. Like, Minkah takes the tight end a lot. They'll play zone, though, as well. So, I get what you're saying. I love Gerald Everett because Cooks is out, but I like Pittsburgh D more here than anybody.
I did not see that with Minkah Fitzpatrick.
He'll take the tight end a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, so like what they're just gonna let Cooper Kupp just go nuts and Robert Woods? Like I don't know. I feel
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
if he's on Everett sometimes, of course we know he's gonna kind of get on him every now and then, but it's not like he's shadowing Gerald Everett, right? You've
Oh
got
yeah,
to
for
have
sure.
you've got to have more focus on Cup and Woods. And guess what? If Cup or Woods gets a touchdown, Minka Fitzpatrick should focus more on them. That's the way I see it. If Minka Fitzpatrick is shadowing Gerald Everett, which he's not, then of course you don't want that. But that's interesting. I'll look into that a little bit more. I'm glad
So
you.
I would assume, yeah, I would assume Minka is going to, so because Cup's not going to blow the doors off of anybody out wide. So you really don't need bracket coverage on Cooper Kupp. And that's, with Minka being a safety, that's kind of where his value would come from, is playing bracket coverage. Like it's like a perfect matchup for a guy like Julio. Maybe you'd put Joe Hayden on him, to cover the short routes and then Minka for anything deep. But with Cooper Kupp, I don't think that that's an issue. He's not going to blow the doors off. And Robert Woods is that guy, and or not Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks is that guy, and he's out. So I'm interested to see how Tomlin and the boys game plan for these Rams pass catchers, because I don't, Robert Woods isn't going to blow you deep. Neither is Cooper Kupp, and Gerald Everett's not going to either. I don't really like Josh Reynolds. I know people like him a little bit.
Yeah, I like him.
I think this game goes under.
Huh.
I think Pittsburgh D is in a great spot, especially if no one's playing them. They're a great price on DraftKings at 2,600. This Pittsburgh D puts up like double-digit DraftKings points every week, and yeah, I'm more. It's this game's very hard for me to make a game script of. I want nothing to do with Gurley. Just at that price, it's not for me. I like other running backs more, and I don't know. I want to see how they use Minka. I feel like the corners can keep up with with Kupp and Woods. I don't know. It's good. I don't know.
I do.
It's tough. It's
I
tough.
do.
I don't like anybody in this game really.
I do like
Because
Josh.
I can't get a grasp for it, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know how. I don't want to invest in something. I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, I do
You have
like
a better read on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do like Josh Reynolds just because when he steps into that wide receiver 3 role like he did last year, he tends to do good. Last week against a terrible defense, he got a touchdown, 73 yards. He's very cheap. I think you can punt there. I know Todd Gurley mentioned he grew up a Ravens fan and he hates the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you can hate them, but can you get more than 12 touches and get in the end zone? I don't think he's getting in the end zone twice. And geez, has he done it yet this year? 2 touchdowns. He got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he got one. He scored last week, I think.
So, yeah, it's a tough game to break down. My plays would be
2 weeks
Everett
ago.
and Josh Reynolds. I'm not on Goff. The Steelers defense makes some sense, but I have a lot of respect for this Rams offense. It's tough to play in Pittsburgh though, and then Jalen Samuels, we mentioned, play him. Juju Smith's in. I'm not on him. Deontay Johnson's the wide receiver 2 there. Makes a little bit of sense, but not really on him either. And yeah, Vance McDonald's a guy we brought up last night or on the podcast. He is another punt tight end, one of these mid-range tight ends that you kind of just have to get lucky with. So yeah, overall it's a tough game to break down. So hope that helped.
All right. That's what I'm going to say is that game's very hard to project. So I will not have a lot of exposure to it. I will use some Cooper Kupp because Cooper Kupp at under 10% owned is obviously something you should get some shares of. But I'm just Arizona, Tampa Bay, and Kansas City is where I'm going to be at. And then obviously New Orleans and Atlanta is a great spot to go to as well. So I kind of got to figure out that. What's make a sexy 6 for us. So you gave us your core plays, didn't you?
Oh geez, yeah, I can do a sexy little 6 for you. I'm gonna go number 1, Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones. Give me some. I think I'll lead Singletary, 2 running backs. I'm just leaving out obvious CMC and Saquon Barkley, but Murray, Aaron Jones, Singletary, Thomas, Godwin, Tate. That's 6.
All right. Mine's going to be Kyler. I don't even know if this works in a lineup with the pricing, so I try to get some low guys. But Kyler, Saquon, Travis Kelce, by far my tight end 1 this week. Chris Godwin, Michael Thomas, and Ronald Jones. My favorite GPP play on the board is going to be Aaron Jones and Damian Williams. So that's where I'm at. And then some punt plays of Humphreys, maybe Perryman, and Allen Hurns, I think, is going to be my under 3,500 wide receiver.
Javier
Smith, I like him a lot too.
Javier is saying, I'm putting you on the spot. FanDuel 250-man tourney probably costs like $10,000 to get in. It doesn't, Javier. Do you want Humphreys, Ridley, or Ginn? I would
Humphreys
go
on
Ridley.
FanDuel. Yeah, Ridley for sure.
Yeah, Ridley. Ridley and I expect a 10% cut when Ridley goes off. Who will be your guys' most used tight end? It's a tough question because I'm going to have a few lineups and I'm not going to go hard on any tight end. Everett was my boy going into today. Jonnu Smith has risen on my radar. Griffin has gone down on my radar. So Jonnu.
Mine's there. It's
Who is
just
it?
going to be mine's going to be easy. Most used tight ends is Gesicki and Kelsey.
Okay, I like that too.
Who's my Slayton Callaway call this week? I guess I am 2 for 2, and those guys hitting double digits.
Hey, nice.
Oh, damn it. I don't know. I got to go to 3,500 and figure this out.
Okay, you figure that. Find a guy, and I'll get the next.
Yep.
How many is too many Miami Dolphins in one lineup? Well, if it was Javier, you could play as many Dolphins as you wanted. He loves the Dolphins, but I think more than two. So and that would be Fitzpatrick and Parker. There's no way I'd play like the running back, the quarterback, and the wide receiver. But if you wanted to go like Fitz, Gesicki, Parker in a big tournament, I understand that too. It's not optimal, but it makes sense. Makes you find your.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 Pixie. Sorry, I can't take a stand on just one. So for cash, I'm going to use Humphreys. He'd be my punt wide receiver guy, or the Slayton Callaway. And then it's going to be Allen Hurns at 3K for GPP upside. I think he's in a great spot. And who was the other guy? Oh, Demaryius Thomas is number 1 on my matchup chart here this week.
Isn't he out?
No, I think he's playing. I hope so. Let me look. That would throw this whole thing off the board.
He's questionable. I thought he was out. Keep an eye on him. He's got a hamstring thing going on. I'll try and pull him up.
Yeah, so Demaryius Thomas is going to see DeAndre Baker a lot. And we've talked about him every week. That guy's awful. I don't know how he's in the NFL. Yet a starter. So if that game goes over and Jason thinks that New York Giants and Jets game is going to go over, I think that Demaryius should be heavily involved. And he doesn't really have the game-breaking ability like Slayton and Callaway possess, but Callaway only had, like 11 or 12 points last week, so he obviously didn't do that as well. But I think Demaryius Thomas is an excellent spot at 3,500 on DraftKings. So Hurns, Demaryius Thomas, and Adam Humphreys are my little, we'll call it the Darius Slayton call, whatever that was that week. That went well.
There you go. Demaryius Thomas is still questionable. I typed in his name on Twitter, and it says that the Jets have signed Smokey the Cat to replace Demaryius Thomas this week.
But all right, Allen Hurns then. Just Allen Hurns. I'll take a stand for you. That's where I'm going.
Play Smokey the Cat. All right, look, do we have any more questions in here? Let me pull it up. Javier is probably about to rag on me. Yep. Yeah, Parker in the tight end. Excellent in on Hurns. I hope the Falcons lose 45-3. They probably will. So, look, that's going to wrap it up for us. And do we have anything else do we need to do here?
I got a question for you, David.
Okay.
I'm loving Devonta Freeman's price, and Ito Smith is out, right?
Yes.
Is Devonta in play? Like, who's going to touch the ball in the backfield besides him?
I'd play let me pull it up here, but it's going to be mostly Freeman here. And he's been catching the ball a lot more lately. And
that's why I like it. The Saints' run defense is so good, but they allow pass catchers to do whatever on the flats there.
It's going to be Brian Hill coming in next. Oh,
okay, so Devonta Freeman. Devonta Freeman all day.
I actually do like Brian Hill's talent, but it should be all Freeman here. And you know what? We are going to go through actually and tell you. We gave you our sexy six thanks to Javier, but we're going to go through and do it one more time for you guys. I'll go through the line and just pulling up FanDuel here, and then Nick, I'll ask you to do the same. It's going to be Kyler Murray for me, or Drew Brees, or Jameis Winston, Christian McCaffrey, Barkley, Aaron Jones, Marlon Mack, Singletary, Jalen Samuels. At wide receiver, Michael Thomas, Golden Tate, Chris Godwin. Those are my favorite three, if you can fit them somehow. Tight ends, Gerald Everett, Jonnu Smith. And I'll throw you know what? No, we haven't said Austin Hooper. That's probably a good play too.
Yeah, definitely.
Austin Hooper gets it done. I'll make a team with him. And then defense, it's going to be the Ravens and the Bears. But I encourage you to get weird with your defense. All right, take us home. Take us home, Nick.
All right, my quarterbacks are Mahomes, Breeze, and Kyler. A little bit of Jameis as well. Running backs, it looks like I'm going to be very underweight on McCaffrey. It's just it doesn't work for me with the price. I love him. I wish I could play him. Packers are a great team to attack with the run. I just can't do it. Maybe maybe McCaffrey can slow down in this cold weather. That's what I'm gonna pray for. So it's going to be Saquon and Aaron Jones, my top dogs there. Marlon Mack's certainly in play. I love him. I'll get a little bit of Kamara. And then the cheap guys are going to be Ronald Jones and David Montgomery and Singletary, like David said. And then I love Damian Williams for tournaments that I'm going hard on: Arizona, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, whatever like that. Michael Thomas, best receiver play on the board. I love Tyreek Hill. And then I'm going to go Godwin for my top three guys there. Mid-tier, I love Christian Kirk, but his ownership is through the roof. And then Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
And I think and then I'm going to go cheap with like guys like Alan Hearns and Adam Humphries and whatever else I could afford there. Tight end, Kelsey or Gesicki, a little bit of Jonnu. And that's pretty much it for me. Defense, Bears is my number one. I'm not going to be able to afford the Ravens in any lineup that I build, but they're obviously a great play. But yeah, like David said, get weird with defense. Bears and Pittsburgh, my top two.
Cool.
Panthers as well, I think could be fine, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like defenses on the road as much, so I think I'm going to go Bears Pitt there.
Pixie, the 7 is a Slack only thing I can do. This is a family show at WInDailySports.com. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week. Good luck, everyone. I hope you win $1 million. Javier, you probably will. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.